Somebody say hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to Friday night roundtable, hang out in the crib, also known as hang out with your wang out.
Oops.
Oh yeah, I just said that.
You get a different Larry on Friday, I guess.
And I haven't even.
I was just going to say, this is not the Larry we normally know, people.
I had a long day at work today. All
He
right.
needs to unwind.
Yeah. So, welcome and happy Friday night.
Happy Friday night to you as well.
Cheers. Somebody got the rum available, or is Larry hoarding it?
I think Larry might be hoarding it.
I got a lot of rum back there.
Well, share it.
Well, I'm on air now.
Then everybody knows where he hides it.
Yeah.
Don't you see the bottles on the counter? Come on. He's not sharing.
Bottles. Well, that's a bunch of crap on the counter, actually. It's more coffee than rum on the counter. Okay, but we're here to talk about Battle Pirates, right?
Certainly.
Nope.
Okay.
We'll go with
Oh,
that.
damn, I thought this was a War Commander show.
People still play that one?
Me, I don't. I quit a long time ago.
Yeah, I quit that one when you couldn't micro repair your air units. Okay, so should we head for the slides, and we're going to talk about
Sure.
state of the game and Phantom TLC and the raid and all that stuff.
Trump's wife.
All the fun stuff.
Oh, don't spoil it.
I know. See, now I have to come visit you.
Nope.
All right, so let's talk about Friday Night Special. And since we had no show Wednesday, sorry guys, we'll talk about bug fixes. Most of them were kind of boring. The second one's sort of interesting. The range boost from the range boost transformer wasn't being applied. Okay, thanks for having that not work for weeks, apparently. I don't know.
Well, what I don't understand is, there was a heated debate on the forum for a while, and people were submitting videos, and they were still going, it's working when we test it. And the guys are like, look, here's a video, it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a little bit disappointing since, the revenge could snipe a lot of that stuff if you came at the right angle. And yeah, I bet a lot of people were pretty upset that 10% didn't kick in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then fixed an issue where the name and avatar for one of the players participating in a spectated PvP combat wouldn't be displayed in the top left of the combat. Now, I was just in combat, spectating a combat, and a base hit, and it still showed my name instead of the person's base being hit. So
Oh,
this is
then
totally screwed
It's
up.
it's not fixed. They can say whatever, but I think that this afternoon, every single game I expected, I saw the same one, likely the first I see. So you could see outside the name of everybody's name on the fleet, and when you get in, it was the first one I saw likely 4 hours ago. So it's likely that one got recorded, and since that moment, it's the only one I'm seeing. So no, not fixed at all.
Yeah, the only place I noticed it was fixed is potentially with PvE. I think in PvE it now shows. I was trying to talk to somebody while they were doing their TLC, and it was displaying properly at that point, and I'm not sure if that's what's differentiating the two. But it's working in PvE but not PvP, or I don't know enough about it, but I have noticed at some points it's working correctly.
The other really weird one I saw was I was in a combat with my Mega, and then I was either watching a base hit or hit a base, I forget which, but it still showed me that Mega style block, which is totally different than the usual combat block. And if you see that when you hit a base, the health bar is really compressed, and so it's actually really hard to see the bubble line.
Okay,
if you-
that happened. You have a mega in the actual game because I had coined mine in the test server just to see how it was, and I found that problem on the test server. They told me it was just because it's the test server. So that's
Nope.
actually happening in game now.
It happened to me.
Oh, crud.
It was just
Happened to me
that.
too.
It was just that session. But yeah,
But it was after you came out of the mega, after
come
viewing the
back.
mega, right?
Yeah, and then just went to
Yeah.
do something else. Smooth. So yeah, these other bug fixes are kind of boring, except it's they say they fixed the issue with the hulls taking damage after an update, and they didn't. Again, I can vouch for that one firsthand. They did not. Um, so yeah, good job.
Does anybody know? Are they handing out coins to people, or because I've
Yeah,
read that some people are taking not just minimal damage; they're taking hours of damage when this happens.
Yeah,
and I know that some get, but the ones I know are whales. So maybe it's because they are whales.
I'll admit I haven't asked. It's like one. Yeah, my ships get kind of dinged up. It's probably like 2 or 3 hours total. I haven't tried ticketing it.
Yeah, send them a ticket.
For,
Maybe the more tickets that people send in, the more likely they're going to allocate resources to fix it.
That's
for the damaged ships, you mean?
yeah.
I had. I'm trying to think of how many ships. It was like 3 fleets. All of them had some sort of damage. One of them, like I had a Punisher fleet that was all half dead, and it looked like it had just gotten done doing the FM. So I don't know if that is a hint to where the damage is coming from, but or
Um,
the save point that they use. But they only gave me 10 coin for like a lot of damage.
well, we're pretty sure it comes from ships where you've refit the armor.
Muscle memory,
That
so
would
to
be
speak.
everything. Yeah, I mean, I've refit all my crap.
Yeah.
And did you fit maybe armor on some of those Punishers that didn't have armor before?
No, I haven't touched those Punishers in months.
Oh. Hmm. On mine,
The
it's
armor.
all I've lightened up armor, and those I've done it to 4 ships, and those are the exact 4 ships that keep getting damaged week after week.
Yeah.
All right, enough bugs. Game's buggy, getting buggier. Fix I need to
Really?
learn how to test.
I can.
I mean, it
I
really
want to. Go ahead.
it really bugs me that they just. I was talking with somebody in game, and they're like, "Yeah, he's a guy who really puts a lot of work into, you know, tweaking his fleets and making sure the damage is what it's supposed to be, and he thinks there's a problem with the shockwave on the retribution, and he says kicks out hire me to test, and it just seems like the problem is not that they test poorly, it's that they don't test at all. I,
Or they test in sector zero, so to speak, and there's some different code that's floating around in sector zero than is floating around in the real game.
I mean that might be part of it, but also that I think they're concentrating mostly on, when they want to test something, they're going to test all the new stuff and that's it, not thinking. I mean, some of the stuff that we've come up with. That's the whole point of them having the test servers because collectively we're smarter than they are. They've said it.
yeah.
I don't think they can come up with the combinations that we can to test it to make sure it actually all works.
But look, when something like this happens, where they say they fix a bug and they just didn't. I mean,
Oh, that's irritating.
that's not like, oh, it was this weird mix of things and we didn't do a good enough job testing. It's you said you fixed something and you did not fix it at all. That's not bad testing. That's no testing. But
That's sort of why I threw out the theory that there's some difference between the live server and the test server.
yeah, maybe.
Because especially if that's a pretty big one with the
Yeah,
with the
or it's
halls.
something that they can't really track down because they just can't find the nexus of it. I mean,
But then they want
we
to
still
announce
have.
it was fixed.
Well, they might have thought they found it if on certain testing it did. It just didn't do it globally, and I mean, hell, we still have the S Siege Cannon S's still are dumbfire now because of some damn update. God knows when. I can't remember when it was, but that was a break in the code that wasn't intended at all, and they can't find that.
Yeah. All right. Now are we done with bug fixes?
Let's move on.
Sorry.
All right. No, that's cool. Oh, wrong screen. Okay, so we're going to talk about state of the game. There were 4 major points, and I wrote some responses to each of them, and hopefully we can get everybody else in the panel chiming in. What else you guys think? If you agree with what I wrote, if you disagree with what I wrote, that's cool. Let's hear it. So the first one is this event arc, and they say they learned a lot from the Civil War arc, and they already applied these lessons to the Reaver arc. Check out the skirmish foundry line and targets to get needed tech and practice. So they were kind of vague. They said they learned stuff, but they didn't say what they learned. So I think the first question is, what should they have learned? And then, did they learn that? So I think the big thing is put out the needed tech first. And they got halfway there, right? People were, with the Civil War arc, right? It was all about the Apollo, and you had to get the Apollo. Well, you didn't have the Apollo in the first one, and you were just trying to get them built for the second one, right? And so put out needed tech first. Yes, they did that with the hull this time. We could all earn the Hellwraith, and we've had plenty of time to get them in the water and ranked, or at least some in the water and ranked. But people have been complaining for a while that there was no way to get the torpedoes. And they finally put them in the Phantom TLC, but that's kind of late. And then the other thing that I think they hopefully should have learned from Civil War was there has to be a good range of difficulty that allows all players to participate. It should be a progression from C to B to A to S. And sometimes they got it right, and sometimes they didn't in Civil War. But in these raid previews, and I think we're going to talk more later about these floating mortars, or what'd you call them, Hefe?
They have several names. We'll get into that. I mean, it's going to be the most named weapon, I think, in Kixeye history as far as alternate names.
Yeah, and it's not going to be as cute as Angry Arc.
No.
So, I think if you look at Phantom TLC, I think most of the way it ramped kind of nicely, but then as soon as you got to those floating mortars, it's like, what? And so, yeah. What do you guys think? Are there other lessons that they should have learned?
I would hope that they had learned that the S set bump up in the last raid was, a little bit steep, but we're still looking for the same gauge for difficulty for the S set this time. I don't know if that, and it's going to cost more this time because of the armor that you need on the subs. As for the hull, I am psyched. I am psyched, and I will take the extra points that it takes to get the hull or the tech early. A lot of people are mad that it's twice the cost coming out a month early, but I look at it as I had an extra month to prepare.
Right.
So yeah, I can live with that part. The weapons, I think in their mind they actually thought they did get it out, but didn't realize that it was in that locked store. You know what I mean? Because the Charons were in that locked area and whatever, and I don't think they realized
you already needed like 30 million to
that's what I'm saying is I don't think they realized that putting it in the locked store was not quite the way to get it out to the people.
Well,
I mean, that's not quite getting the weapon out to people. And I don't know if I don't know if they have a too high expectation of the community or what, but that's definitely not the way to get that tech distributed.
to be fair, it is in the Forsaken mission now. It's it's the third prize in Tier 4.
Yeah.
I
But it's a
just
little
got
late.
it on my all.
But I think that's what Larry was saying, is it's a little late.
Better late than never.
Yeah, but you're talking about a weapon that is 10 hours. So if you have to build 6, 7 for each of your holes, you don't have time from the release of that Forsaken mission till next week.
No, it's not much time, but the thing is you can get a couple of them on your fleet, even if you only throw 2 or 3 on a ship. They're at least there, and then by next raid you can have it fully done.
Yeah, that's one thing that we need to consider with this first raid. It is a PvP haul, and it's more meant for players with a higher level of coinage.
Or that could
So-
afford the 30 million last raid to get the hell
Yeah.
roof. Yeah.
No,
No,
and I do sort of like the idea that they start off with the PvP haul and let the PvE players sort of adapt and overcome what obstacles they're putting in the raid. And the people that are already doing PvP, they probably have everything else because they're spending enough gold to get to that level.
right. I mean, I said it before. I think it's a great idea that they picked this for the whole for the prize. I really hope that everything else is priced well to get people going into the next raid, because the next raid, the S set's going to be 2 targets from what I read, rather than just 1, unless I misread that, and that's
Yeah,
worrisome.
I think you misread that because on the state of the game it said it's the same target from the previous month, 1 target for the S sets.
No, see
It
what
says that it's for one. It says that there are both. Is the
the last one
the
from
yes, yeah.
last set, and then a new one. The way that read to
But
me
the
was
only
that you're
thing,
gonna have to hit both.
yeah, I was asking George before because I don't know if it's 2 targets and it's a set of 2, or it's 1 target and you can choose between the old and the new one. Because the way it's said there, you can get any of the 2 options. I think.
You can interpret it either way. That's true. That's true.
All right.
I just hope they
So any
learn a
other-
lesson. I just hope they learn the lesson of which we'll talk about later, that they're introducing a whole different game mechanic at the beginning of each raid that people find unfair. But you already sort of mentioned it with the floating mortars. But
I'm avoiding mentioning the floating motors right now, man. Those psychedelic things can just wait till later on, because
yeah, okay. No, I understand.
one of my
So-
big pet
So
peeves.
Hefe, we'll get to that one in a second because I think that's actually on the next slide. The fact that this raid is a bit different. So
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
let's put a pin in that one.
The bottom
Anything
of this seems
else? Any
interesting.
other lessons? I'm
Then
sorry,
the-
what was that?
I said the bottom of this slide is actually interesting. I want to get into that because that's a good point.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's do that. PvP, PvE separation necessary for us to create a more balanced and dynamic experience. We want to continue making PvP more meaningful, so we're going to improve the medal system. So I thought there were 2 interesting things on that point, and the first one is, did the PvP PvE separation work?
For the most part, I would have to say yes. There are
Yeah.
exceptions. I can name a bunch of exceptions, but for the most part, overall, it did the job of re-energizing PvP.
Yeah.
Low
Well,
repairs and
yeah.
low
I mean,
build
it was
times.
totally.
I mean, the issue that I have that I've tried to bring up before, which might be, I'll let Larry go first, but my issue with the PvP PvE separation is sort of it's not directly related. It deals with people's bases. But go ahead, Larry.
Well, I think the one thing that you got to keep in mind that's not on the slide, especially, is just before they did that, the power creep was getting out of control, right? And so they bring out a new fleet, and it had to be better, and so players' bases would get smashed, and it would do chores really easily because power creep, right? And so that kept happening, and what would happen is they would have to make the chore targets harder to keep up with the power creep, but then new players couldn't do chores even, right?
Right.
So I think that's maybe the biggest benefit of this split is it does kind of divorce chores, and they can, balance the power creep on the PvE hulls and the chores, and then it let them, really reduce repair times on these PvP hulls, which we've seen, these half-hour, 1-hour repair times, which is really nice, actually, without um, making chores too easy. So I
That's the
think
point.
that's good. Sorry.
But it is good and it is bad. I mean, as far as the reduced repair time on the PvP halls, because if you think about it, some people aren't going to want to participate in PvP because it means that you're going to get hit back, and unless you're up 24 hours and whatnot, that's going to cost you a lot of research, equip, upgrade, whatever time. Even if the person fails in your base miserably, it's still gonna if you sleep for 6 hours a day and don't access all the time, you've already got you take that 6 hours and you add on the 7 hours for your towers to repair, and then the all the time that it takes for your shipyard to repair and all these other factors. It seems out of balance that the player that gets hit is taking basically 28 hours of damage.
It's a big penalty whether you win or lose in defense. That's excellent.
Yeah, I mean even if you like the last guy that hit me, he did 4.5 some percent damage, but he cost me about 28 hours research. And it took them. I mean, yeah, those research are taking place. That research is taking place simultaneously, and it's healing simultaneously. But let's say if I was going to coin that, if I was going to repair that, some of it's repairable, and some of it is not. Some of it's just lost time because you're not in the game 24 hours.
How did you lose 28 hours?
Well, if you combine, I can make a slide for that next week, but otherwise it's.
I mean,
I was sleeping for about 6 or 7 hours.
I mean, I might be
three different
biased.
targets. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I might be biased. I don't hit a lot of bases, but I do hit some bases, and I get hit. And I don't know. I just I don't see there's a penalty, but given like some of the penalties of the past, I really am I'm okay with it. My dock repairs, the shipyard repairs instantly, and I lose just whatever time I was off the game, so a day tops. It's not like it used to be where it added like 8 hours on this and 16 on that, and you know what I mean? I remember I was getting.
But that's not really the way it works, because if you think about it, you're gonna, how long does it take a level 7 turret to repair?
A lot of hours.
8-ish hours, 7 to 8 hours.
Yeah, you're losing that. So let's say you're going from 6 to 7 on one, and then you're equipping a level 7 turret. How many hours? Even if you don't sleep, how many hours do you lose?
Those are happening concurrently. You don't lose.
That's very low.
No. But if you want to coin it back, if you want to coin it, you got to pay for both.
But they give you a discount. They give you a massive discount if you're going to coin it.
No, only if you want to coin your whole base.
Well, yeah. Why would you do it individually on two things if you can do it for cheaper for the whole base?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, before, a lot of people were spending, 24, 36 hours on repairing their fleets for PvP. I mean, what I'm suggesting as a solution is that we drastically cut down or even eliminate the fact that if your tower is down, your upgrade stops or your equipping stops. Just eliminate that part of the game.
What they should do is make it like War
while.
Commander, where your complete base repairs in under an hour.
That would be interesting. I mean, I'm not vehemently against it or anything, but I don't know that it's that as I don't know if it's a major issue. I would love to see it go back to the way it was, where if, one of your researchers is hit, it continues researching. That used to be great. That was all for like 6 months or something way back when, but that was fantastic. I'd
That's
love
what
to
I'm.
see that.
The
I
one I
mean,
care about most is
that's
ship dark.
basically what I'm suggesting. Is that if something is damaged, it's not going to interrupt your progress as far as researching, upgrading, equipping, shipbuilding, all that stuff. It still goes on as if it never happened. That's all I'm suggesting, because it's no longer equal in my mind, because as they decrease the PvP base hitter fleets, you're swaying things. You're making it less equitable, especially if the person fails badly. You've done your job. You did a good job on setting up your base or whatever, but you have a larger penalty than that other person did that failed. That's all I'm saying. But,
Oh, maybe I got smashed a lot when I was, smaller, so I'm kind of okay now. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think our perspectives are a little bit divergent on that.
Yeah, all right. So, but does anybody think improving the metals system is gonna change that?
Ask
Change any of
Well,
this?
ask Chris that, because I
we
don't
don't
I
know.
don't mind still.
My opinion on metals is they're pointless. They're not doing anything for you except making you a bigger target. The more metals you have, the more you get hit. Usually.
Yeah. So talking about that, when I'm up on the top, when I'm at my high end of metals, I get hit a lot more than when I'm down low. And I believe it is because, I've got more metals. People want to take them because they want them. But like she said, they don't do anything. What I would like to see implemented is the gear store that War Commander has, where you get a certain amount of points for the medals you have that week. So, but in order to get those points, you have to hit 5 bases. So, and whatever could be in the store would be stuff that's in the daily deals: ship skins, tokens, uranium, base
Mhm.
parts. And every week when alliance points reset, you would earn, say you've got 500 medals, you would earn 50 whatever for the store, whatever they want to call the credits for it. But in order to get that, you have to hit 2 stars on 5 bases per week for it to count.
Okay.
All
So
right.
all right, so if the metals system was revamped so that they were worth something like that, you think that would encourage more players to do PvP? Not, I mean, certainly you're doing it already, but
Yeah.
you think that would help across the board?
I think it would, because if say you've only got like 150 medals because you don't care about it, but you could easily have twice that, and if you have twice that, you can get more tokens from the store. I think more people would go out and hit bases so they could get ship build tokens from the store, or crews and stuff like that.
We might be a little biased though. I mean, my initial reaction to that thought is that the community's general reaction is going to be another chore.
Well, the thing about that is it's not another chore. If you're getting alliance points every week, you have to get 2 stars on 5 bases per week.
Yeah, and people consider that a chore already. I mean, unless you're already hitting bases. I mean, I don't know that the last time that I've actually gone out purposefully trying to get alliance points.
I farmed an alliance the other week for sniping my fleet, and I already had my alliance points. It's not that hard to do.
Do you see what I'm? But
I mean,
that's my point though, Chris. That's my point. Is you're already hitting
but
bases. It's already part of your game. You know what I mean?
well, but
yeah,
that's
yes.
the
So you're
game
combining
itself.
chores.
Right. I mean,
If you go to the original description of the game, it is player versus player. The people who sit there and they do the PvE, that's how they're playing. But if you look at the description, it is player versus player.
Well, that's what it originally started as, and it was fun as hell. I'll admit it. I loved seeing 100 fleets going into the next sector. However, the game has evolved. I mean,
It has,
there's
but
no
to me, it's
denying
still
it.
player versus player. You know.
I know a lot of people that would disagree with that.
It's all based on how you as a person play.
Exactly my point. That's
But
the point.
that's the thing. It's going on to chores. You don't need to do everything that they say you have to do. Forsaken missions, pretty much really the only thing. Well, that and raids, because you don't need alliance points. You don't need base parts. You don't need to do the foundry targets. And armadas are pretty easy. Fill up on them and then hit 1 or 2 a day, and you pretty much stay topped off. So
Until January.
yeah, but
Hmm. All right. Are we done with this piece of it?
Yes, I want to see
I'd
what the
say
next
so.
one is.
All right. Next. Megaships. Initial player feedback met expectations, but this is only the tip of the mega iceberg. More
My
stuff coming soon.
goodness.
So they must have had low
So huge.
expectations.
So huge was that feedback? My goodness.
I
I
didn't-
wonder what the level 3 or 4 or till the level 50 were saying about in that feedback.
I mean that's about all I can say about megas. I mean, I've got my mega and I'm building it, and I even put some coin into it because I had to get that article that I wrote about them done. And you can't like look at your build while you're building stuff. It's really stupid. But when you're in a mega ship combat and you're the guy with the mega, you sit and watch. Okay.
Yeah, the last week I think me and Ewok and a couple other people, one of them with the mega ship, were hitting, and they weren't doing anything. It was me, Ewok, and the other guy doing all the damage, running in with
Right.
their fleets, killing the mega ship.
Right.
All the person with the mega does is initiate the combat for the other people.
You were having way more fun than whoever owned that mega, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you it. We smashed 3 mega ships in a row.
Right, and you're having a blast. But yeah. So that's a big problem. I
Well,
think.
has
And-
anyone
Yeah.
figured out what they're for yet? I mean, I don't have mine yet.
right, and that's the second
They're
point.
there for you to spend money on them.
Yeah, and what's the benefit? So maybe Kixeye expected that. I don't know. But that I think they I in the town hall they have discussed potential benefits from the megas, and so they probably are coming. But I think the fact that just fighting with them isn't fun when you own one. I think that's just a fundamental problem.
Yeah, I would think since it's a battle. I mean, you would hope that it would be, a little fun if you're initiating a battle with someone that,
Yeah.
you do something other than twiddle your thumbs.
Right. I mean, it's more fun like doing a level 60 mine because I have to like set my waypoints at the beginning of the battle. That's more fun.
Yeah, because it seems like most people will spend most of their time, either running it across the map or doing very chore-like things in order to progress them.
Well, you can't now, can you? They fixed that part, did they not?
Yeah, they move too fast. Only
Yeah,
takes
yeah,
an
yeah.
hour.
Now you only got an hour of time to do that because I see them all hidden under draconian uranium bases, but you can still interact with. They're still
Yeah.
targetable.
I mean, I don't know. I'm from hearing people that actually have them. I'm not all that thrilled. I think I'm gonna leave mine blank when it gets done. I got another 2 weeks on it.
Well, yeah, and that's the other problem, and I talked about it in the article I wrote. Is they're really titanium hungry, and you've got to hit a lot of
The same
the
target over again.
The
the
91s.
91s
Yeah.
to keep them
I
filled.
don't think it would be so bad if you could stock up on it as you're getting your mega ship, but you can't.
Sorry, you're breaking up. If you could what as you're getting it?
You know, when you're getting the parts for the mega ship, it tells you earn so much titanium, but you don't actually earn it. If you could stock up as you're getting towards your mega ships, it wouldn't be so bad.
Oh, yeah, it goes fast. It goes really fast. I mean, you hit a 91, and that's 8,000 titanium. Well, putting one gun, like one regular gun on a module is 5,000 for the very cheapest ones and 20,000 for the more expensive ones. And you've got 7 weapon slots, so you're spending,
Damn.
you got to hit like 20 megaship targets to equip a module. And then you need another, let's see, I'm trying to do the math here. You need another 75, 95, 85,000 to build a new module, titanium, because you got to convert it to components. And so that's another 10 mega targets to build a new module, and then more than that to upgrade a module. It's really, really, really hungry for titanium, and it's going to add a lot of chore time to keep it fed.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize how expensive the titanium was, so yeah.
That's that you can kind of get a sense of that on the build guide.
And can you coin that resource, or is likely the thing that you can the uranium? Sorry.
I don't know if you can coin titanium. I haven't tried.
Do it. Coin it now.
No. I mean, don't coin a mega. There is absolutely no reason to coin a mega. I mean,
No kidding.
Man. All right.
You have me very discouraged about this. You know that, right?
Sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The benefits aren't there yet, and the fun isn't there yet either. So
I don't know. We will have to wait for the hiving thing to see what it brings to the game.
Yeah.
Speaking of the mega ships, I had an offer yesterday for 120 Hyperion fragments and 150 gold for $50.
Well, it's not worth it.
Alrighty then.
I think that the deal I got was likely 10 fragment parts of those, and I think they were asking likely 79 or 89 coins just for that. So I think that they overvalue those things too much.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about communication. Communicating change. Players adapt to change better when it is clearly telegraphed and gradually released. We will continue to strive for transparency, but change our plans if it results in a better experience. So
better experience for who is the question. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, so at least they have the right idea with this statement, right?
I agree, yes. The statement is correct. The execution...
I'm going to call it uneven. I do really think they're trying harder to communicate. And the point that you said before that I wanted to come back to, Hefe, was, if you think about a year ago, we didn't know anything about a raid before it was released, right?
True.
I'm thinking about the Scourge, for example. We didn't know what was coming. Maybe knew there were subs. Maybe knew there was a little bit of art. We never had open previews like this. So there's a lot more out there than there used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a little uneven.
Yeah, I mean, it's after the comma that I have an issue. But we will always change our plans late in the game if it results in a better experience. And you sort of wonder if that was planned beforehand.
Well, there's always tinfoil hat people out there. I mean, let's talk about
we can talk about
Phantom Hellwraith.
Okay.
So they announced it and then they didn't do it. I think that's maybe an example they changed their plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the story? Are we pissed?
Well, now see, this is the part that I get really paranoid about because, when they do something like that, like the Phantom Leader or whatever, people get so pissed off and start just being venomous as hell towards Kixeye. If I were them, I don't know that I would want to share as much. You know what I mean? And that's what happened last time when they took away, what was it? It was the works in progress, right? They stopped doing that for a few months.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone was freaking out. Well, you said the 19th, and it's the 19th, and it's not here. Well, dude,
Well,
stuff changes.
just like when they do that end a game, everybody thought that meant the game was coming to an end.
I think the thing is, this is like a two-way road, and
Mm.
we kind of have to blame some of this on ourselves sometimes. I think they're trying. I think their intent is okay. Um, Again, their execution might not be all that great sometimes, but man, like the test servers are a two-way street. That is a two-way street, and they came right out and said it. You guys collectively are smarter than us. We want you to come in here and try and break this.
Mm.
Okay? It gives us the chance to look at the targets, and it gives them a chance to see how we would break it, which has worked. I mean, I can attest personally. I've broke it. It's good. It's good for both parties. So long as that mutuality exists, I think we'll be fine.
So they can do what they did and quote unquote fix it for the raid. I don't know that we should break things before the actual raid. I don't think we should try to do that. I mean, basically with some of the slides that we're going to show later, dealing with your your
Mortars. No, no,
favorite.
I understand, and yes, there is a thing, but you also got to understand they also came out and admitted. I mean, it's not like they hid it. They said we designed this to take 2 to 2.5 fleets to do. Okay.
Yeah, 2.2. Yeah.
You know, how there are ways to mitigate it. I mean, I came up with 2 different ways to mitigate it right off the bat. Is it great? No, it's not. Does it help? Yes. Will it work as well as I want it to? Probably not. But again, we're trying to break what they designed as a specific thing. But that's we'll get into the raid thing later on because I don't want to sidetrack into that because I'll get venomous. I mean,
Yeah, right.
The only thing that I would add is I think they should replace all the shows like this with Kickside people talking about what they're trying to do in the game. As long as they're honest about what's going to happen and what they're trying to do, I think it would be much better for the game itself if they replaced all the people combing through what they say and trying to figure out what they're trying to do and just say it more clearly than the sort of the broad bullets with a lot of weasel words that we see.
It's an interesting point, and right, I got invited to participate in this town hall group, and sometimes we can share the stuff they tell us, and sometimes we can't, and we all had to sign NDAs. But what you're talking about is a really interesting idea. That what if they just had a town hall, invited some players, maybe rotated those players, and did it in public?
that'd be kind of neat, actually. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
they can
the
always say I
trust.
can't talk about it,
Yeah, and it's the trust quotient will go up, and the communication of exactly what they're planning to do would be increased. I think it would be better for the game if they showed that kind of transparency. It's not even transparency. It's the fact that it appears to be one person just creating bullet points, and then we have to figure out the rest. Like what does that mean? Yoda. I always just see Doom Rooster as sort of Yoda with some of the stuff that he posts, and just remove the riddle in these statements and just flat out let us talk about it, communicate about it, and just go from there. It just
All
seems
right.
like a better way to go.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Okay. Say they come out with a raid, and it's well balanced on their end. It's working okay. They've done it on the test server, and everything works fine. And then some schmuck comes along and breaks it and finds a way to do it for absolutely 0 coin. If they fix it on the fly, which as a company I would expect them to, how pissed off is everybody going to get? I mean, do you remember when people figured out the Wake Tactical module on what the hell's that boat?
Well, it was originally the
Monarch.
Hurricane.
No, it was on. It was a
Well, because
specific raid where people.
I was using it on the Arbiter way back when, but okay.
Right, but there was a specific raid where the Monarch with the Wake Tactical leading a couple of boats did the S target for absolutely zero damage, and they had to change the target. It was like the second or third day in, and
Oh,
everyone flipped their shit.
that was the one where they like tripled the damage.
Yes.
Yeah, I flipped
Well,
my shit.
yeah. To some people it tripled the damage. To others it did not triple the damage. In fact, it didn't do much extra damage at all. But that being said, I mean, what happens then? Because as a community, we flip out, man. I mean, we do. We get pissed,
So
you know?
But why
you
do
know
we
what?
get pissed?
For
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry.
that kind of stuff, I try and make a distinction, and the distinction is, are they doing something? It's a fine distinction. Are they doing something wrong or not? And if you're using, I'll say, legal equipment legally, okay, then I put that on Kick's Eye and take your lumps, mothers. But the kind of stuff that I would expect them to fix, I remember even further back when there was a raid and you could like maneuver off the screen
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't target you.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that one where you're essentially kind of breaking the game rules, even though you're not, I'll say, hacking.
You're not using
You're
a
taking
third
advantage.
party.
You're
Yeah,
taking advantage of a particular mechanic that was not meant to be.
right. So that I would expect them to fix. But oh, I used a ship that you weren't expecting me to use. I think that's Kickstarter's problem.
Right. And I'm actually I lean towards that heavily. I think I've said it somewhere before, or wrote it, that I would rather see them take their lumps on a kind of easy raid set and not piss off the community than do something like they're seemingly about to do with this raid set and piss off everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes beyond just the taking advantage of a game mechanic. It goes to just the fundamental process that they use for planning stuff and reacting to things.
Yeah. I mean, these subs, right? These sub targets with their plasma damage, these death weapons, right? I mean, they're very unavoidable and very tunable for Kixeye in terms of how much damage you have to take. I don't know why they feel like they had to add these mortars. Sorry, we weren't going to talk about
that. We got our special part for that.
My bad.
We're all dying to get there. I mean, everyone wants to get there.
George is going to strip off his shirt and do all sorts of stuff. So, we can only do that once.
I'm going to go all over the Greek.
All right, should we move on?
Yeah, but I had a quick question for chat before we move on. What we've done here, and Larry's done a great job putting these slides together, but we're talking about sort of theory of the game. We're not talking about specifics. Do you guys enjoy this stuff, or is it just like a bunch of guys talking about things that we don't know anything, we don't know all the specifics about? And do you find this something that's enjoyable, or is this something that we should like scale back in the future of the show and talk more about, like, what to put on what and things of that nature? But I like what Larry's done here, but I'm trying to figure out if most of the audience enjoys this, or this is at like a level that, we don't really care, we like to play the game and blow stuff up.
So you're asking them if they like us geeking out on the mechanics of the game, is what you're asking, right?
Well, we're not even really talking about no. This isn't really geeking out on the mechanics of the game. This is more talking about things we know less about.
Yeah,
Next, we're going to start. Yeah. Next, we're going to geek out on the mechanics of the game. That's going to be the next stage, and that's more when I'm interested. If they want to know, like, should you put on this and this, and how do these specials and weapons and hulls interact, or are you interested in things like this? I'm not certain, because I could see, some people liking this and some people not, and fast forwarding over this whole part of it. and I'm just curious what the people that watch the show, what they like. You know, if they like this, or they're gonna like, you know, much more specific things that are less, you know, not, I don't know if global, but what's the right word, Larry? You know, just deals with global issues with the game.
I don't know. Big picture. This is, I don't know.
Yeah,
Write in
big
chat.
picture.
Tell
So
us what you
okay,
think. I'm gonna move on.
okay, move on, move on. Go ahead.
FA's going to send out questionnaires later on to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, Phantom Warfare. This is TLC going on now. FA put together the prizes and the time it takes for each piece. So there you have it. 5 packs. New Phantom Barracuda, new Phantom Spectre. Um, these skirmish torpedoes, brand new. Um, kind of an interesting weapon. And then you've got the Phantom Tiger. Kixeye did the thing that kind of annoys me, is when they put out a TLC and really all I want is the top prize, and they put these weird things that I don't really want in the lower tiers, so you have to go through them. But that's been their thing.
But well, it's a DLC that unless you are interested in those tokens, you can skip it all if you want, because probably you have better tech already than this.
Right.
So
Right.
at least it's a chore that you don't feel that you must do it unless you want the 3 days token, for example.
All right. Should we go through another couple slides and then talk about TLC? Talk about how we did. We got a slide on the screen here. We got some shortened repairs.
I did not get a single one of those. And someone's mic's going crazy, by the way.
I think it's Chris, but not sure.
All right. And then, we got the...
Oh, yeah, as far as the last slide, I think it only occurs when you were doing the TLC. This is from Chris.
No, that was implemented months and months and months ago.
Okay.
A lot of people were getting it on the TLC, so I don't know if the drop rate was changed for when you were doing the TLC. But I had never seen it. The first time I saw it was when someone got it during a TLC and posted it, and I was like, man, I didn't think those existed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I heard rumors. I've never seen one.
Interesting enough, I got the repair discount, not that I could afford it, on both of my ghosts after I finished it.
Really? See, I never got it. I had a couple people say they got it only when their fleets were completely dead, but, I was in the last one, and I stupidly answered a phone call and made a big boo-boo and died, and I didn't get it when my fleet died.
Yes. And does it, at the end of the show, George is going to pimp his 1-900 number for anybody that's interested.
Huh?
Just kidding. Go ahead.
Phone calls on your 1-900 number.
Woohoo!
Where George hangs out with his...
Whatever. We don't want to talk about that.
With my
Let's move
shorts
on.
and my no shirt.
Yeah. Okay. Or that. Okay. Hunter Killer Mortar, Converging Coin Collector, Psychedelic Unicorn Mortar. I disagree with the Psychedelic Unicorn Mortar description because it definitely does not shit rainbows.
It was psychedelic in the fact that it floated and it's a mortar. I mean,
Well, psychedelic means multicolor.
No, someone's tripping for this damn mortar. I'm just telling you. Whoever came up
Somebody
with it.
Maybe he forgot to eat his crayons. Eat crayons, shoot rainbows.
Okay, guys, remember that we are in Kids Hour. Don't curse too high.
Did I curse? I'm sorry.
I did.
No, I just, it's a pre-warning, just in case. Because that mortar is amazing. It has a lot of friends. Especially Kixeye side is when he has more friends than any other.
It's like it's actually like the strike missile, if you guys know what that is. The anti-radar missile.
The anti-what?
Anti-radar
I
missile.
will remember. I will remember one point you said. It was saying that after last raid, they learned a lot. I wonder where that learning a lot came when after sending us a sort of tour that was crossing the whole map, they now, instead of a tour, they made a missile that do exactly the same, that hit you from the whole map, actually. Maybe they thought that if it was going underwater, we were not as happy as getting hit by the surface weapon. I don't know.
Maybe.
But this is crap to me. They have the explosive damage that you cannot mitigate. It doesn't matter how good you are. At first, you could even mitigate a bit because if it got that fade out effect, now it was completely removed. It doesn't matter if you kill them in front of them or 200 range. 200 range. Yes, that's the death weapon range. It will do the same damage. Now, they then said, well, that's not enough. Let's add some plasma. And, well, it is not enough. They still are surviving this. Now we are going to add this mortar. And I don't know. They have still 7 days, so they can still work on invent some new weapon to do there.
Yeah.
I'm upset that it's in the A sets now too. I mean,
no, you're spoiling the next couple of slides.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right,
I guess I did them in the wrong
should we
order.
just cover this? I mean, do you want me to? Because I, the one thing about this being up in the air and not a torpedo is the fact that you can mitigate it by letting the drones see you. Because if you're submerged, as of right now, it does no damage if it hits you while you're submerged.
Yeah, at this point, because I remember watching your video that you put
you're
together.
The one that pointed it out. You're the one that pointed it out to me. It does not do damage when it hits you underwater.
Yeah, and that was in the preview server, so we don't know what's going to happen at this point. But in the preview server,
well, no, I tested it in the TLC too.
And the TLC. But you think they're beyond changing that?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the A set is a mistake from Don Brewster, because he is quite skilled at making mistakes when posting things, and then it's going to be something that they remove, and it's like, well, if it's not in the A sets, we will set it on the S set. So it's likely now you swallow it on the S set, like it or not. I don't know.
Well, he made mention of both tiers when he said that the mortar was going to be there.
Yeah, and he has mentioned that they were coming deflection armors, and then the deflection was only on the tier 5 for the concussive armor. So I don't know. Each time he posts something in the work in progress, you have to wonder how much is accurate from that coming from him.
Well, look, this goes back to that whole two-way street thing. It's in the work in progress. You know that things can change. I can't, if that's the attitude the community is going to have towards stuff like in the work in progress, then they're not going to do it for us anymore. And I would rather have some information, even if it might not be entirely accurate, than none at all. I don't want to go back to the dirty old days where we found out about the raid 2 days before it in a video that was crap.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I would rather have the information than not.
Well, right. And there's some information. The problem is the more useful the information is, the bigger the impact if it's wrong, right? Because if you get it really early and it's really useful, then you're going to start doing stuff, building fleets. And then if it's wrong, well, then all that stuff you did because you had that information is wrong. And so that stuff might be useless, and now you're mad. So yeah. It's a tough balance because, I mean, maybe if you say, well, they said there's going to be deflection in this armor and there wasn't. Okay, should you get really mad about that? Well, did you do anything because of that? I don't know. Maybe you held off armoring a ship or something, but you probably did something else useful.
I got really angry about the deflection bypass at the first. Whatever. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry.
No, I was tailing off. We can talk about deflection bypass. I mean that was. They tried to communicate that one. It was just really confusing.
Yeah, use the right target for the right haul for the right target. But we didn't think it was a new mechanic. It's the new mechanics that they don't introduce ahead of time and tell you about beforehand. It's something that's completely new to the game that they introduce at the raid time. I
Well,
think
that
that's
that and they're notorious for not coming out and just flatly saying stuff like, look, the 109s are coming out because they don't like the Punisher. The Punisher's just way too good at doing way too many things. Okay, that is how I read under all of that crap of what the reasoning is for taking the 107s out. Okay,
Fair enough.
is it true or not? I'm not 100% sure, but that's kind of where I lean. I would rather have them come out and go, dude, we screwed this up. We're going to change it so you can't do it. Now, I'm using Vendettas in the 109s. And they come out and they say that, they release that thing in the state of the game saying, hey, you know what, we're going to make sure that the separation stays, clearer, the delineation's better. Are my Vendettas not going to work in the 109s? Because I didn't build Citadels. I built Vendettas, and I have a tank. I mean, I'm going to be really upset if I can't use my Vendettas
Right.
because I'm screwed. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, I would like to have a clearer line into. Um, if they change or tweak a stat, yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. Far more than killing off, a hull that everyone just had, gone after in a hull raid.
yeah. I think we should move through the slides pretty quickly, but I want to make an extra point, and George as well, because he's been doing the most work associated with this. The I'm a hunter killer mortar / converging coin collector psychedelic unicorn mortar. But the issue that I see with this, as far as how to overcome it, is it doesn't do submerge damage. If you have a fleet of subs, preferably Hellrace, that can be seen by them. That you get into their sonar range. What's going to happen is these crazy little mortars that they invented are going to aim at your subs, but not do any damage. So you're basically sort of shooting them down.
There's a caveat to that, though.
Okay, go ahead.
The huge caveat to that is that, these targets have an increased complexity to them. If you add to the fact that you have to actually be very cognizant about where you are, what is seeing you, and what will activate, just so you can mitigate this mortar, it's adding yet another layer of complexity to an already complex situation. It's a shitty way to do it. Pardon my French, but I mean, come on. And the other way to mitigate it was using the Vanquisher with the Hellwraith behind it. I think I have a picture of it somewhere. That works okay, but again, it's adding complexity to something that really is already way too complex for a 3-day raid, let alone a week raid when the hull raid shows up.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just ramped up the death weapon, right? You could have added a few more ships, could have ramped up the death weapon, and that would have had the same effect without pissing people off.
Yes, absolutely. Honestly, I would much rather eat it through the death weapon than this, even if it's the same damage. But now that this is here, you better let me mitigate something, man. I mean, I just two and a half fleets. Everyone was running Apollos with no armor. For the first 3 iterations, we were running 2 or 3 Apollos, not counting the first one. But it's like what, an hour and a half to repair an unarmored Apollo. Okay, if you're running 3 of those, you got 4.5 hours of repair. If you're running 3 Hellwraiths that are armored now, you're talking 12 hours, 14 hours.
It depends.
You know what I mean? But the cost is going to be higher, either in time or in coin, for the same result, for possibly less points.
Yeah. All right. Let's roll. Phantom Barracuda. Are we interested in this hull?
It's good for people who don't have a Phantom flagship, but not many people run Barracudas anymore.
It's actually not bad to lead Hellwraiths either.
Yeah, I know a couple people who are building it for Hellrays. I'm building it on my alt simply because Barracudas are the best sub he has. So
I'm working on my
The thing
coast.
about it is it's a Phantom flagship, and it's a short build time, so
Yeah,
a
if
decent
you
little
put
ship to grab.
if you put Nautilus Battery 2 on it, I don't know what everybody in the viewing audience has on their retro as far as their stealth, but Nautilus Battery 2 gets very close to Hellwraith with whatever special you have for submerge time. So if you're a bad boy and people are going to snipe you during the raid, this might be a worthwhile investment for a couple days of build time.
Yeah, you can build it with the token you get in the last run through the 3-day token. You can throw some stuff on it and build it with the 3-day token.
Yeah, yeah, but this is the one out of the available ones that most closely syncs up with the Hellwraith.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we can move on at this point.
All right. Okay, Phantom Spectre. I actually tried, or I did actually go through the first round of the TLC with my old Spectres. It was kind of painful when I knew I had Hellraise in my dock, but I did it.
How far'd you get?
I got all the way through the first round, and then I got the first one of the second round done, and then when there were drones, the Spectres were horrible. And they were my old Spectres. They didn't have a third special. It was just Magnus 1, Battery 3, and 6 Assault Bees.
Really? That's actually a pretty good showing.
Yeah. The thing that makes a difference is the death weapon wasn't so bad in the early ones, so you actually keep your ships stacked up, because they're really slow to kill these guys.
Nice.
But
The thing I like about
Chris.
that run through is I did it on my alt without any subs. It costs a little bit, but I used the grease monkeys and tokens I'd saved from Kixeye, and you could do it with surface fleets if you had the right ships. You know, so it wasn't too hard for low levels to do, especially if you've been doing the Foundry to get the Barracudas and building a few of them. It was relatively easy to get for cheap.
yeah.
Yeah, and personally, the jump from 2 to 3 specials and the combat speed is really huge, and I think it's better than the Nighthawk at this point. And personally, on my Match.com account, I started searching for third special, and I've found all sorts of goodness related to that. We can move on.
Okay.
I don't know that I want to comment on that one.
Yeah. All right. What do we got here? So we talked about this Rise of the Warlord. Oh, they're calling him T. I didn't see any of this. I don't know. Somebody else should talk this slide.
I mean, basically, what happened was they keep on relabeling things. And this used to be your tier 2 through 5.
So where's tiers 1 and 2?
Yeah, well, I don't understand it, but it's basically just tells you what you're supposed to match to a tier. And it's a little confusing because only tier 6 shows no retreat button.
Hey, the thing that looks interesting to me, or that I maybe have an issue with, is this says this is the target you want to hit if you want a lot of points and don't mind losing some fleets. Now,
The implication is,
so here's the thing. The point of the S target wasn't that you don't mind losing some fleets, it's that you want to be able to do it quickly. And
yes.
I don't think at least these top tier targets we've seen can be done quickly. They're so massive.
Yep. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. One of my biggest beefs with it is that it is so time consuming that you can't. It's not a quickie. You just can't. It's not something that you can come in and you're going between work and dropping off the kids at some play or something. You can't sit down for 20, 30 minutes and coin your way through 3 targets to get a couple million points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was always supposed to be high difficulty, a lot of points, and really quick. Quick, dirty, painless. Well, not painless, but you know what I mean.
Right. Quick, dirty, and painful. I mean,
Yeah.
You can accept painful if it's at least quick.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
We done with this?
move on to the next one. Yeah.
All right. Tips and tricks, hunter killers. All right, we talked about this thing. Drone circle, use subs, explosive resist. Wait until the sub calves are done firing. I sometimes like to play it dangerous with those and kind of try and see if I can figure out where they're going.
Yep. The only thing that I want to mention on this too is at the beginning when they give you those big giant orange circles where the mortars are supposed to land within?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not accurate at all. I made the mistake of parking just outside of one going, oh, it's going to land somewhere inside. Yeah, no, it landed on the outside of me, on the other side. I was like, son of a...
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's cool. Drone circle if they don't see you, duh. Keep an eye on your submerged time. Don't rush an attack. Don't care about repairs. So, I mean, are they encouraging hackers here? I don't get that. Hunter Killer Tier 5 and 6. Now they say just Tier 6 maybe because we're so nice. I walked up to you. I said, I'm going to hit you in the face and kick you in the nuts. But because I'm a nice guy, I'm only going to kick you in the nuts.
Hey, that's
Oh, man.
the best way to encapsulate it.
That was great.
All right. Health on the Reavers greater than previous iterations. Blah blah blah. So okay.
Well, I think that's important because we talked about communication earlier, and the fact that they're changing the ratios on these things because the last 2 points, a lot of people went through the preview and are gone through other parts of this, and they're like, okay, I need one Hellwraith, and I want to make a glass cannon Hellwraith and just mess stuff up, and and I'll deal with my damage afterwards. But if they're going to up the damage and up the armor and lower the damage on the targets, it really changes what you would.
I can't bitch about that, man. Raken came up flat out, and I mean flat out said one is not going to do it last month.
Where did you do that?
Hold on, let me think.
It was
on the TFC
show.
show. Yeah, it was on the TFC show, and then he.
Well, what
I
I'm
think it was
saying
mentioned
is,
it was on-
what I'm saying is for players. I mean, you can't be like forced as a player to watch every show and follow every link and whatnot.
And I'll tell you where this is going to really hurt is if you don't have fire twisters, right? If you're still using like I even tried my tigers actually in the 4.4, and they have sticks, and boy, those things were terrible. And when I was running around with the specters, I mean that was the biggest problem is the assault torps on the specters were just doing no damage as they were. So it's going to make it really hard to use anything besides the fire twisters.
See, going through the campaign, I didn't have too much trouble with running the Charons on my Ghost. It actually worked pretty well.
I was going to say the same. Sharons with the Night Hawks were doing for me a good job till I started to get the Hellwraith.
No, that's a fair point. The Charons are probably almost as good as the fire twisters.
if there are retroed all the way up.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't mind throwing a couple of the fire twisters on my Ghost to deal with the drones because those do get tiring, but I didn't grab it, so I'm just running 6 Charons. Actually, no, this is the other one. I think I'm running 10 Charons on my other ghost, and it works pretty well.
Okay.
I might be running more. I can't remember now.
All right. Well, I think maybe the one thing you do have to say is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say on my Hell Wraiths, I'm running 5 of the new Fire Twister Torps and 5 Charons, and they're working. I love it. They're working great.
Yeah, I went all 5 twisters actually. After the last test server, I fitted everything out to all 5 twisters.
Yeah.
I'm running on my Hellwraith. I'm running, I think it's 5 or 6 Charon torpedoes. I don't have any damage boost on it, and it still tears up vendettas. It doesn't do so well against retributions, but if you don't have the fire twister, Charons work better. The thing about the Stykes is they don't do as much damage because they have the corrosive tipped warheads basically, and that's what's supposed to do the most damage.
Yeah, they suck against these targets. All right, well, these are actually real tips out of Kick's Eye, so that's something, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
they work.
Okay.
No, when they do something good, they do something good. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's not as good as we were expecting.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, I mean, I put this slide together just for. This is before everything started. We started getting more information on what was going to go on in the raid. And I think they're all still valid. But what rogue crews are you guys wanting to target prior to the raid, based on our information?
I'm doing Grease Monkeys. I'm actually filling up on uranium right now to grab them.
Okay. And Tito, you were talking about. Larry, can you click one more time? We can get Tito's demo squad up there.
Oh, there we go. Demo squad.
Yes.
Yeah, I was planning on using the couple I still have of those two.
Yeah, because it doesn't appear to be that it would work straight out, but Tito says it blocks plasma damage, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's working, if it's working as intended or not, but I figured out that, that normally people. Sorry, one moment.
So anyway,
it's that it was getting 30 some minutes on hitting one of those targets, and well, with this demolition squad, I could cut it down to 17 minutes. My guessing.
Tito's gonna abuse his dog now.
Sorry, my guessing is that the plasma damage is reduced by that crew.
Well, one of the things that I found out in chatting with someone was that some of the all damage things have been recoded to actually be inclusive of all damage.
Yeah, I heard about that. There was an argument on forums a while ago. But it was about either the Dreadnought or the Dreadnought X having turret defense, but it hadn't been upgraded to have turret defense against scatterguns. And Doomster basically said that Kixeye wasn't going to do it because who's going to use Dreadnoughts anymore? And there's, all damage protection doesn't mean all damage protection to them, apparently.
Well, in some things it is, in some things it isn't. I'm actually trying to find the conversation that I had with. Let me see where it is. All right. Oh, it's with we were discussing the resonance triggers and field of effects and the actual code that was used to do it. And one of the things that came up was, I think we were discussing the resonance battery. That the all damage actually was inclusive of all damage.
No, that sucks for me because I'm running that on my Ghost.
That would be good. That's not a bad thing. That would be good. The only thing is, I don't know that it actually does include plasma. I think plasma was coded differently to bypass everything.
It might be. I haven't done any research into it, but they're not very true to their word or their descriptions is the thing. All damage protection doesn't mean all damage protection to them. So.
Well, at the time that it came out, it was. It's just that now they're old.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is they need to update it.
Yeah. No, I agree that they have to. I can also see their side of it where, the position would be to what end. I mean, yes, it would be good for the community. Is it really going to be cost effective for them because they got to put someone on it, and that's old code, man. I don't know if they have anyone that's been coding that long there that remembers that code.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a mess. But
Okay.
next,
Let's keep going. Keep going.
Move along.
Pull out soon. So I apologize if I leave you hanging, but hopefully
Oh
somebody else
my
can
goodness,
get the
dirty
slides
boy.
going. Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
All right. But I'll keep talking until at least somebody can. Yeah. All right, Tito, why don't you let us know when you're ready to pull up the slides, and we'll switch over. Okay. So Geek Corner. Hefe, you've shown this one before. You want to talk
No, I
it
haven't
in?
shown this one before. The next one I've shown before.
All right. Well,
I've
talk.
shown it to you.
Okay.
You may talk to it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Basically, this issue of Geek Corner, I was basically trying to figure out for the upcoming raid and what we know about it. And mostly what we know about it is associated with the death explosion. The psychedelic unicorn mortar or the new things that have been added. We don't, I didn't know about, and we don't know about. There's no data mining associated with those things. But there is data mining associated with the ratio of explosive damage to plasma damage associated with the death explosion. So I was trying to figure out for everybody, what do you want to upgrade? I mean, it may seem very obvious what to upgrade, but I just tried to show everybody the impact of upgrading it. And it's
Yeah, I mean, it shows the benefits of the bigger armor, the bigger resistance, and the bigger deflection, and the bigger retros. It's so here you see more defense, more deflection, lower repair.
yeah, and the repair time is associated with the difference between. I mean, I like my next slide better. The girl's cuter.
All right, I gotta run.
Okay,
Sorry.
just go to the next slide and then let Tito take over.
All right. Well, I'm gonna quit sharing and drop out. And
Okay.
have a good one, Larry.
Have a good night, Larry.
got to luck on it, Tito.
Alrighty. George doesn't like this girl as much as the previous girl that I had in Geek Corner.
Yeah, I like my girlfriend better. Sorry.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to explain here is I think everybody that watches the show is familiar with repair efficiency. It's how much repair you get per second, or it's how much repair you get in a second. And so if it requires you, let me give you a couple of examples. If you have a S armor, the stealth armor, you repair 1 point in 0.8 seconds. If you have CT armor, you repair 1 point in 0.8 seconds. If you have an M armor, it's 0.6 seconds instead of 0.8 per point of armor. And then you add in the assault deflection and everything else. This slide and table just merely deals with that part of the game. It just deals with what your repair would be from numerous big booms, from killing the new targets that we're getting with when surfaced is a 10% and well, I'm sorry, 90%. What's the word I'm like? 90% explosive, 10% plasma. When you're submerged, you take 50% less, so it's 80-20. I just want everybody to know from the slide that basically what's happening is the X, D5X is where you should put the bulk of your armor, and the S is where you should put the rest of it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. To simplify this graph, when you look in that last right-hand corner, what you want to see, well, the ones that are better are the ones with the lower percentage, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I created the no armor on a Hellwraith as the benchmark.
I like my graphs dummied down sometimes.
So, whatever. I mean, we've been going for an hour and a half. We were only supposed to go for half an hour, so I'm wearing out. So
you better go on because there's still a whole bunch of slides, man. You still got another 7
no.
slides.
I think this is. Oh yeah, we got like 1 or 2 more. I'm gonna need to take a leak at some point soon.
Oh
So
well, yeah, that's good on the air. Awesome.
Yeah. I can bring the microphone over there.
Next chick. Okay,
let's go.
Totally ruined this for Larry. Shame on you.
We've only got a few more slides to go. There's 8 more left.
No. Well, after extra slides, that's only people ask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are from the last show, I think.
Oh, okay, good. That makes more sense.
Yeah. This week's screw up, even after the update, fleet damage and dock after update, again and again and again. Whatever, that's easy. And go ahead.
So you finally accept the fact that you only can have 25 friends, according to Kixeye?
Oh, yeah, that's a pain in the ass, still.
Well, on that, if you're trying to relocate, you can have them add you on Kickside, and you can relocate through that pretty easily. It's just through Facebook that it's messed up on. But you can't send coins through Kickside, so if you're trying to prep for people, it has to be through either PayPal or the Facebook messaging, sending money, whatever thing.
Or Facebook cards. That's the one that I absolutely, positively recommend to everybody.
Yeah, Facebook cards work too.
That's what
I think it's better, especially for those that help other guys, because if you go through PayPal, one of you is going to get that commission that they take from you.
Yeah, that's why I think it's better to go through the Facebook, or like you said, the cards. But with the cards, you don't get the bonus they give.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, you get it. You get it.
What you do is you
have to
you get the card, you claim it on Facebook, so the money's in your Facebook account, and then you go and buy the gold.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only way. Because there's some raids that I run on the ragged edge and make absolutely zero on, and if I screw up, those extra coins actually help the screw ups.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to figure out. I think I figured out how I can prep in this next one, but man, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, it's especially with the no retreat button. I'm gonna have to wait for it to time out, and that's gonna waste time on my cruise. So.
Well, I was looking at last raid when we were doing, because I was prepping on S sets on last raid, and the time is actually going to be pretty close to what I was. Actually, might be a little bit less than what I was doing on the two target S sets last raid. So I might be able to just pull it off that way and just call it a day for losing what I got to lose to hide.
Yeah, and with the heat-seeking missiles or whatever you want to call them, if you're waiting in a corner, those are going to find you anyway. So you can't
No, because
wait out
that's the first
without
you are
having
going to hit
to.
probably. If you hit those, the moment you kill the Hulk and the mothership, there are no more missiles.
Right, but if I'm prepping for somebody, I have to leave the Hulk because the thing is, the Hulk doesn't have any cavitator rings, and
Yep.
it can't bring you up. You can prep that one so it's half dead. You know what I mean? It's a much easier leave for someone that can't do the targets than one of something else. If they can do one of the scouts, then fine. I'd rather leave the scout. It'll help me out a lot better. But
Because the scout, especially in the S target, I think that even with all fire twisters, you need 2 or 3 bullets to kill it. So maybe they could do it with less. But you are right that if they are going with assault beast or something like that, they will take forever to kill that scout with the armor points that they put.
Yeah. See, that's why I think they're kind of tweaking the targets to make it good for people who are using ghost crawlers, because the missiles aren't going to hit you, and the more armor and less damage done, that's really going to help the ghost crawler users also.
yeah, in the long run it will.
Deep dive too.
Yeah, well, the issue with deep dive with me is every time I enter deep dive and I try to leave, the ring pops up and catches me at the very end and brings me up, so I get fucked either way. But,
But you can, I don't own a ghost crawler, but you cannot reset the diving time entering one of those circles like we do.
I spend half my
it
time in the
does for the
circles because I've got the battery on it, so I get the 20% defense boost from it and the speed boost. So I try to hit the circles.
right. But if you're in what I think what they're asking is if the circle does anything, and I think it does reset your timer for your deep dive, right?
Yeah, it does reset the timer for the
Yeah.
deep dive. It is useful. You can do it, but it's
I think that's what they were asking is if you have a ghost crawler, what does it do going into the cavitator field? And it does reset the timer. It's just their timer is different than a regular sub.
yeah, it brings you to that, and your timer doesn't go down until you leave the sub, until you leave the field. But it doesn't surface you, which is why I'm thinking that with the stuff like the heat-seeking missiles and stuff like that, it's going to help ghost crawler owners because you never surface no matter what.
Yeah.
So those aren't going to hit you, and if you're spotted, they don't do any submerged damage, so you're safe from them anyways.
For now.
Yeah, for now, but I've got 102 stealth on my go, so it's kind of hard for me to get spotted unless I purposely get spotted.
You hacker. Dirty coiner.
Yeah, 102%.
Okay, we
So
have
we
covered
have
this
one
one.
more.
Yeah,
the
the mods on the tier A, in the tier A or tier 5, whatever you want to call it now. But I think we covered it with all our runs.
I have a problem with that thing showing up in the A sets. I really huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
to me, the missile is a big, it's a money grab type thing, and that's what you call it, the coin generator missile or whatever. That's basically what it is.
Converging Coin Collector is what I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it converges on your ships after it floats around there for a while.
If you have to
Yeah, I
explain
haven't
it
seen
ain't
it
funny.
land, but it's
I don't know. I'm so frustrated with, people have brought the issues to Kixeye. We've said it everywhere. There are significant issues with this upcoming raid, and it's a great idea. I love the idea. I love using my subs, but man, I just don't think this is the way that it's come out is going to be a great raid. Like I said, I think people are just going to get exhausted after the first day.
Yep.
I was amped up. I was on edge after I finished the TLC because I was concentrating so much and just, yeah, I don't know that I want to do that for a whole raid.
I'm not going to say it was like that for me because I was pretty much just, quick wherever I wanted it to go, and it worked fine. So.
Okay, let's see what Danielle or William has to say about it.
Well, I mean, the raid is definitely going to be a whole shit show, and it's the sheer fact if you're going into an asset, you kill what, one scout, you're taking 25% of your health. It's
For
asinine
me?
almost. No, I mean with like hell raid.
But did you put in your health rate a steel armor, or did you put the new steel armor?
No armor on it.
That's a big problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Because ablative armor, I think that even retrofitted to high levels, I think it's only going to bring you to 89, 90.
Yep.
And those 4% more looks like nothing, but honestly, it means that if you get to 94 with the armors, it means that you are getting just a 60% of the damage you are taking right now, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that this coming raid is going to be how shall I say, people I think are going to get very extremely upset about this, because there's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to do this raid because they don't have the subs refitted right, or they don't have enough torps. I mean, for one, I know someone in this game that has got Nighthawks, but they're putting Havoc 4 torps on them. How are they going to do the raid? They're not, because they don't have any other torps. Being,
Well, the Charians got the MB torps. Sorry.
Yeah, and there's Assault B torps on the second part of the Forsaken mission for Tier 1. So you can get good torps easy.
Yeah, but the Assault Bs, I tell you, while I was retrofitting the Night House before we got the site on this new sub, I was trying, and it's not the same. 10 or 12
yeah, but they're better than Havoc 4, is my point.
Well, it's going to be better than the Havoc, but even that way, I hope that guy don't go farther than the tier 4, because he's going just to be a problem for him just to try to kill one. I think that he's going to get three rings at least before he can kill one of those scouts.
I mean, I understand that he's going to have issues with it, but if he's got Nighthawks, he shouldn't be hitting the top level stuff. They said the Nighthawks are meant to hit like the tier 2 and 3 level stuff, I think, is what the suggested sub to use for those were.
I still feel the Spectre is better than the Nighthawks.
The Spectre is better, especially if you put torps that give you speed, because the fact that you can get it to, I think it's 40, the speed you can get on the Spectre now with the boost they gave to it. It makes it faster than the Nighthawk. It turns better than the Nighthawk. And I think that the longer dive time that you have on that sub helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Spectre is a good sub to have, but you know, if you're trying to use Nighthawks, you're going to be taking on the lower level targets. So I haven't personally tested my Nighthawks in a lower level target because I don't use them anymore, but I don't think they'd do too bad. The issue is he's going to have to rank them and stuff like that if they're not ranked already.
On the new targets in the DLC, I didn't try them, but I was trying them on the old 30, 50, and 70, and you can do the 3 of them. But especially in the 70, I think I got to re-enter 2 or 3 times just to finish the whole target.
I haven't tried it.
You can do it. It's patience that you need on that one.
Yeah, but the 70s, the Armada targets are a completely different feel than the raid targets coming up. I mean, I hope a lot of people are not expecting the same thing when they hit the raid.
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean that is the only thing I could compare things, because I didn't use them on the TLC. In the TLC, I went straight with the Hellrise, and I forgot about everything else.
Well, given the way everything was, I don't blame you on that.
Okay, Let's see if in this one the chat can help us, because we didn't find anything. Not going to be negative, but honestly, did you guys find anything good that Kickstarter this week for us?
I mean, the Phantom TLC, the people who haven't had it, the first
Yeah,
one was easy to walk through.
Yeah, other than
TLCs
that,
are
That's
pretty
really
good.
it.
other than the last one, I think the TLC overall was actually a really good TLC overall. The first 2 or 3 were easy enough that and gave you enough time that you could get through it and get some stuff. So yeah, I think it was pretty good overall. I mean, it was one of the better TLCs that they've rolled out.
Yeah, until you got to that last run through, that was a screw you.
Yeah, 554 was
Yeah.
but you know, look, I was expecting that honestly, and it was. I'll tell you this, that was so much easier than the 100 in the preview server that I have a feeling that is the last target in the A set. And if that's
Yeah,
the case,
I
I'm gonna
could
be
too.
really pissed.
Yeah.
But I think also depends on the armor, because I saw Bryce doing that on his video, the video that you have posted in your blog.
Yep.
And yeah, and he was taking lots of damage, but I guess that he's not going with the same armor I'm going. He must be going with lower armor, because each time he was getting hit, it was likely 1 or 2 chunks of his armor life that was going down. While for me, I think I don't get more than half 1 or 1.
Yeah,
But,
I
well,
don't know
I
what he
use
was running, but and I was just talking to him about it last night too. I should have asked.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the broadcast and let anybody in that wants to show up but not be broadcast. So, anybody have anything they want to say?
Happy raid.
I think.
Yeah, happy raiding and good luck to everyone, because it is going to be a chore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody has trouble, just jump close to Danielle. She's willing to help anybody she can.
I never said that. I think George is willing to do that.
I'm a
Or
merc.
Chris.
You gotta pay me to. No, both of us. You gotta pay us to get help.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that we have 2 mercs here that you can contact, and they have good reputation. I read the other guy the other day that said that in the last 2 hours
Okay.
you got hit 40 million.
Nope,
the
I
guy
think
that
everybody just jumps to Hefe, and Hefe can go and do the raid
do it
for
for
us.
free for everybody.
Whatever.
Nope.
Give me coins. I'm stopping the broadcast.